Attention Pokemon players, this will be our first deck profile video. It's going over the baby Inteleon line to kind of support the new Leon Charizard line that we kind of already went over on a previous podcast. But this is, like I said, the first video. So we'll kind of go into detail of what I have here and why. So we're kind of going to start with the Snorlax, the new Snorlax with Gourmandize. You have the ability that lets you kind of load your hand up to 7 cards, and it kind of ends your turn. But it helps you streamline the cards that are in your hand and kind of set you up for the turns to be. So he's very important, having having a 2 count of him in the line. So that is him. Like I was saying before, we're having the Sobble and Inteleon line, and this is kind of the main supporter line instead of digging with Marnie's and Professor's research, and like a heavy count of Dedennes and Crobats. So basically, you'll want to get a couple of these guys down to start, and then you can kind of start evolving into the Drizzles and into the Inteleon line. They both have the shading dealings. With Drizzle, the Drizzle, it's 1 supporter, and with Inteleon it's 2 supporters, so you get to just take out any 2 trainers in your deck. So you're basically going to be looking for your rare candies to get your Charizards up and running, and to start hitting. You can find up your Welders here. You can also find your Leons or Quick Balls or whatever you need to go, depending on the state of the game. You also have 1 Dedenne. The reason being only having 1 is because the ADP math doesn't change, and he still kind of helps you early game if you're in a desperate situation where you need to start looking for cards or recycle your hand. So that's why there's only 1 2-prizer in this deck. I've been kind of going back and forth between Phione and a great catcher, just to kind of push something in the active that you're not able to knock out, but still get to knock something out, because it's very important in the ADP matchup, again, to take those first prizes. So as long as you can get that ADP, if you're not able to kill him, onto the bench and knock something else out, you're often going to be in a better situation. So that's why he's there. It could very easily be a great catcher. Besides that, you have your Pokemon searches. So you have 4 Quick Balls, a standard, a great card, a good way to get rid of your Leons in the discard pile to start hitting for more damage. Also finding the Pokemon you need. You got your Evolution Incense, just to kind of get your evolutions, either your Charizards or your Drizzles or whatnot. And a lot of times, I find the Evolution Incense to be great, but Pokemon Communications is also good. If you have a Pokemon that you don't need on your bench, you can just actually find any specific card you need at that time. So that's why you kind of have a variety of different Pokemon finding tools there. On top of that, you do have Fire Crystal to take out, fire energy that are already discarded. It kind of helps in that late game. If you're trying to find those energies and you run out of energies, you can kind of use those or just kind of replenish your deck. 2 Ordinary Rods to kind of get those Pokemon back in, get those energies back in. A lot of times you're using this more as just so you don't deck out, because you do go through your cards rather quickly. So these guys are very, very important there. So you do have a boss. I've been kind of toying between having 1 to 3. I found that 3 is a little too clunky. 2, there's there is a reason you could play 2 instead of having a Phione. Again, I'm kind of going back and forth, but I think anything beyond 2 is just a little too much for this deck, just to kind of like streamline your consistency. So gusting is always very important. On top of that, I was going over the whole Inteleon line. The Inteleon, on top of having scoop up nets, super, super important. You can have 2 Sobbles down there. You can play a Drizzle, scoop them up after you get the tool you need, and then do it to the other one. So you're getting twice the bang for your buck, and then you can actually just keep doing that throughout the game. So scoop up net is busted with that kind of combo. It's great in the mid game. Aside from that, you got Leons to add damage. You're really trying to get them to your discard, but if you do play him and have others in your discard, you can hit up to that 330. So very, very good card for this deck to start, one-shotting some of those big guys in the meta. Of course, you have 4 Welders, because Welder, while you don't need a lot of energy on your Charizards, you can kind of spread energy, so you can put one on an active and one on a bench to get him up and running, because you are one prizers, you have less HP, so you will start getting knocked out from time to time. So you'll want to have, as much energy on the table as possible. And it's also draw support, so nothing else I can say about Welder other than it's a super solid card. On top of that, we got 9 energies. It just seems like that's the good magic number here so far, with some of the recovery cards. So yeah, that's basically the deck. Let's get into some gameplay and see how this deck runs. All right, let's see what we're playing against here in this first matchup. Maybe ADP. Like many single prize decks, this does struggle against ADP's Ultra Creation, so hopefully it's not that, and we can get some kind of good testing off here. Okay. And it's ADP. This is unfortunate. We'll stick with it here and see if we can do something here. So an okay start there for them. So we can still, what we can do here, Poke Communication is Charizard away. We don't need him quite yet. Do that. We have one Welder, some draw support here. And just retreat. So it's like we don't have a Charizard, which is kind of unfortunate, but we've set ourselves up in a way that we can still kind of get set up next turn here with some evolutions. So the biggest thing I've noticed in this matchup is, for you to have a chance, you need to take the first knockout. So a lot of times this Charmander can't actually knock out an ADP early enough, because those Leons are kind of sometimes difficult to get into the discard pile. So if we have some kind of gusting effect, which we do here, and take that first prize, we're kind of set up and off and on the races here. Hopefully they don't Ultra Creation this turn, but it's ADP and they're pretty aggro, so we can see how that goes. Okay, so this gives us a chance here. So what we could do is we could evolve here. So we have what we need here. So what we want to do is we will set ourselves up for next turn. Hopefully they don't warn us here. We can scoop up net and set ourselves up for the next turn again, where we could do the Inteleon on top of this. And then we can kind of welder for here just to accelerate, or we can get our Leon set up. Yeah, well, I think getting our Leon set up is good here. And that way, we can get rid of him with Hearth. 2 energies. Get rid of one of the energies. Get another Charmander set up. And the next turn, if they don't Marnie us and they do kind of deal with us this way, we can either Welder one or the other. And to be honest, no, we don't want to do that, because they'll just switch with the balloon. It's no big deal. So this is kind of just the point where we're going to Gormandize. We kind of set ourselves up for the next turn. And the good thing is they can't get rid, or they can't Mawile him up right now. So that's always a good thing. Extra damage, I don't know if that's really necessary for them, but All right, so sweet. We didn't even have to find him. We just talked to him. So we will evolve here. So we already have the net to get rid of this. So what we can do, let's do the math here. Actually, we can even evolve a second one to get him ready. So next turn we can just find Welder. So if we're super aggressive here, we might be able to get enough Leons. We need all the Leons in the discard pile. So what we could do, evolve. Play 2. Play one of them. So that actually boosts it up to 3 more. Get rid of this one. Actually. Get that there. We don't need this anymore. Get rid of him. Send him up. So we didn't get the Welder, but we can find it next turn. But before we even attack, we can Battle Sense. I think the Welder is more important for the next turn, more than the boss is, unfortunately. Actually, let's see. Before we go on this, we have 2 more. If they knock me out, yeah, I think Welder is definitely more important than bosses, because at this point they're going to just try to stand up Zacian, so you got to kind of keep pace. And Battle Sense here one more time. We found that, but we can get a 3rd Charmander set up. Set him up and hit him. So that's super important to be able to knock him out in that first turn. So as long as we can respawn knockout, so he'll knock us out. If we can respawn knockout, which we will have it right now with the Welder, and be able to set this one up next turn, I think we just have the dub at that point, because they still need to take 3 knockouts, and we only have to take 2 at this point. Crush Hammer doesn't matter, because even if he hits it, he's just knocking the active out anyways. Let's see. 1 saucer, so he can definitely set this next one up if he plays it right, or depending on what his prizes are too. So there he goes, just thinning out that deck. Marnie, so that is unfortunate. Thankfully, with Battle Sense we're good to go. Finding some of the resources we need. Perfect. So we will be able to find Welder with this. We don't need the candy necessarily. Cool. Okay. Let's think. So first off, we needed to get rid of that. We have a Drizzile in there. We have 1 more Leon. We don't need the Leons because we're doing 250 anyways without having to play it, so we're just looking for that Welder. What we can do here. We have, 3 on him? Yeah, so we could just find the Welder this turn. So we can scoop up net, play another Sobble down, but this turn we can play that Drizzile. In fact, because we only need 1 more Charizard to go. No more candy, so it's actually just better to get that Welder out like we were planning on to in the first place. This is what I'm talking about, that mid to early game consistency. So rip that out. We can get him loaded up, good to go for the next turn. We have not Battle Sensed. It's always just good to do that depending on. So again, we can run that. Save some of the resources. Because we only have 13, so we can play that, do both, just get everything back in, get another Charizard, and line ready to go. We got that ready to go. And so the next turn, as long as we don't get disrupted, we can play him on there and be good to go. So I think that's what we'll do. And we will just Trailblazer Knockout. So Marnie here, I think, is unlikely because he's trying to dig deep into his stuff, and I don't know if Disruption is the best option for him. So we'll see. But yeah, like we said, well, I do expect for this Charizard to get knocked out this turn because he does have the Tossers. There he goes. So now he just needs a manual attach. And there it is. So now he just needs to switch out. He had everything he needed, so Marnie is effective. So we're hoping to find some stuff here at the end. He still needs 2 knockouts, though. So he can't win this game the next turn. Again, that's going to be kind of unfortunate, but we did get the Welder here, so I guess we're seeing the pros and cons of this list, where you see where you can just kind of find anything you want at once, but it is susceptible to those Marnies, especially those ATPs just love to play that. So the good thing is, he's, like I said, he needs 1 more knockout. We kind of need to win this turn or not. So we'll put this guy up. So what we need to do, we don't need that Charizard anymore, and perfect top deck. So we can find the energy. We could Welder. Oh, even better. So now all we need is to find Candy. Which is right there. And there's nothing much else that we need for the win. So the net just because. Candy. Oh, and I made the worst misplay. I played the wrong card. Oh, geez. All right, let's go into this this match here. Baby Charizard, Leon with Inteleon. See how this kind of matches out. Early game, it's awesome to be able to go first. Just to get that Snorlax out there, and kind of set up your hand and kind of go from there. See how that goes. Sometimes, like with anything, if you have the wrong cards, you can't really do much. But once you get a Sobble and a Charizard or a Charmander out there, it's pretty good. And okay, not the best start, but we can work with this start for sure. All right, so we could get rid of him. Get this Charizard set up. And Gorman dies. All right, so we have a play where we could, get our Welder out there early, and hopefully find the cards we need. Hopefully I don't have any more blunders like I did at the end of that last game, which is, you saw I had the win, and I just kind of clicked the wrong card because it was my first recording video, so I was, did everything smoothly until that very end spot. So hopefully we don't do that anymore. So that's not the greatest. Swell is definitely the enemy of any fire deck. But the good thing is we don't have to really worry about needing that energy as much as most fire decks. It's not like Baby Bliss F1 where you just absolutely need it to keep going every turn. You can see I just need 1 more energy and I'm ready to go for the attack. Looks like some kind of dark box. Giratina jump. So as long as I can get kind of set up, I think we're in a decent spot here. Right. Pump that stadium. Seems like we're going to lose our Charmander. So what we could do here, I think we just Dedenne change, get rid of the hand. We have 2 of him, so it's no big deal. Play him. Battle Sense. Keep that Welder. I think for this, just get rid of him. Gormanize. Okay, so we're okay as long as we don't get Marnied, or somehow he gusts him up and kills him. I think we'll be fine. So we got the Welder, we have the Leon. That's not, we just really need to find a way to switch this out. So for sure we'll play this down. I think we just do that. We're looking for another Charmander to get set up. So we're really trying to hope to find that scoop up net off the Battle Sense. So actually, we'll wait to the Battle Sense to see what we get. So we did get a Fire. We did ways to get him back. There's not much we can do. Unfortunately, we're kind of stuck here, but we're still in a decent spot for next turn to come up and start smacking. And he's kind of behind the ball. He's top decking at this point, so we can find that to get him upgraded, or find the net. Quick ball for Crobat, so he's up and running, so he's good to go. We're in a spot where we can probably, if we are able to play him, but we have 2 already, if we play him, that's a knockout with this Charizard. At that point, I don't know if he has any energy acceleration where he could really do anything meaningful next turn. Stabilize is fine. I don't know if it's really that dangerous for this deck. Like, he might get the knockout, but regardless, even if he kills a Charizard somehow, he can come up and still just do damage. Okay, so he's going to boss something next turn. Fine. Like I was saying, the biggest thing is to get this Snorlax out of here now. He's done his job, giving us cards we need to set up, and we can really kind of go from there. So at this point, I'm cool with him knocking him out for 1 prize. It's not a big deal, so we can set him up here. So we don't need the Welders at this point. We can just do that, and we could I do get knockout playing that. What's in your discard pile here? Do we need to use that rod yet? 2 candies are already gone. Don't really need that yet. So we do want to set ourselves up. Just have a second Charizard. I think it's the main thing. So yes. We already have the Evo. Let's grab the right card this time and not play a net. That's what I thought I was doing last game, I think, if I remember correctly. We can set up second Charizard. And just have a backup attacker ready to go. Before that, we have 18, so we have plenty of time to take cards out. We keep that there, get that Sobble. That Sobble is definitely huge. Gives us more outs for next turn for drawing into cards we want. Battle Sense on this one. And that Scoop Up Net would probably be huge because I could scoop up the Drizzile and play it onto that and then still get the second one set up. So do that. And take knockout should be 280. 330? Oh, because was that the third? Did I have 4? I thought I had 3 in the discard. Yeah, 4. So I'm basically knocking out. So even if he has another big boy, I could just return knock him out. And I have the Charmander. There we go. So another dub for that list. Okay, so, in those 2 games, you kind of saw a handful of what this deck is capable of when it's running well. Unfortunately, in that first game, we had the win, and I made a misplay. I thought it was playing the candy, and I accidentally clicked the net. This is like the first video I've done, so I don't know if that was the kind of like nerves or whatnot, or me just distracted by, recording while playing. Definitely had the win there, but just clicked the wrong card, and I don't think that would happen in most cases. But it definitely can keep up with that ADP as long as, like you saw, you get that first knockout and you just kind of keep the pressure on with those the Inteleons and being able to do stuff like that. Pull the cards that you need. Maybe don't pull a net at the end when you don't need it. And that second game against that Giratina, it was just it was a little. Both teams were a little slow to start. But like you've seen, like once you get that up and running, it's very consistent in getting the cards you want and really just keeping the pressure on. So that's kind of the deck breakdown of the Charizard Leon, and what I find kind of the best, and hopefully you guys enjoy. If there's any other decks that you want to see in the future, just kind of leave in the comments, and I'll give it a try, and hopefully not play a Scoop Up Net instead of a Rare Candy at the end. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.